I founded Snap40 as a med student. I was a medical student up at the University of Dundee. I've got a degree before that in computer science from the University of Strathclyde. The point of the talk, why collaborate? Well, for me personally and for us as a business, collaboration is incredibly important. We see ourselves as an informatics and software company. We're not a hardware company, we're not a sensors company. But ultimately, our mantra is about building the best product we can for our customer, because that ultimately is what will generate us revenue and allow us to grow. And one thing I've learned over the last 18 months is that the best businesses are focused businesses. So they're focused on a single market, they're focused on a single product, and they understand fundamentally what their core is, what should they themselves internally be great at. So we could go out right now and we could hire electronics engineers, we could try and hire product designers, we could hire experts on sensors, and we could say, well, we're going to build our own hydration sensor. Well, firstly, we don't have the money to do that. It would dilute our focus because we're really about picking out who's high risk. And ultimately would lose our focus away from what we're all about. Why do that when there might already be people out there who are better than that than we are? It really isn't about building everything yourself as a business. I think some people get too focused and saying, well, we want to keep absolutely everything we can inside the business, and yet you do need to be concerned about what your core is and what your intellectual property is. But you do also have to recognise that you cannot be great at everything, especially not at first. So who are the complementary partners out there that you can go to and bring in their expertise and their services to allow you as a business to grow? And that doesn't just go for universities, by the way. I mean, I know this talks about universities, but it's also about collaborating with other private businesses as well. So we already collaborate with University of West of Scotland. We have since almost the start of the business. And why was that? Well, UWS in both cases had access to skills and expertise that we didn't have. We want access to future recruitment, and that doesn't just go for UWS, but is our view of all collaborations with universities in the future. As a tech company, it's incredibly hard to get really talented data scientists, software engineers. We're recruiting one just now, and it's a nightmare. It's one of my biggest stresses is actually finding people. Partnering with universities goes some way to solving that. It allows us to build our own expertise as a company, and also UWS in particular, and I really have to say this, had a very, very solid appreciation of the needs of us as a business. So a lot of businesses, a lot of universities get really scared about the intellectual property issue. I'm sure someone in here is talking about that today. UWS were fantastic at understanding what we wanted as a business, to feel that there was a point in us collaborating together, that we were still protected, that we had an advantage. And one thing we're now doing is saying, where are the best informatics and data science departments globally, and how do we become best friends with them? Which means we can then say, well, who are your best PhDs and software engineers, and we want to recruit them, because it really is a people's game, and for the people we're recruiting, they are all coming through universities, and therefore not collaborating for me would be basically shooting ourselves in the head. So ultimately, building a company is not about working in isolation. It's about working with as many different people and partners as you need to make it a success. So first specific example, so we're working with Dave Hughes in the Thin Films Lab at UWS to develop a hydration sensor. Non-invasively monitoring hydration has been an enormous challenge. There is currently no gold standard way of non-invasively at the bedside monitoring what someone's hydration level is. It doesn't exist. So this is where we worked with Interface. We put out a call, we got 4 or 5 different responses back, and we went to Dave Hughes and his team. We've now done an innovation voucher on that, and we're about to do some further proof of concept work. It is technically incredibly challenging, but the results from the innovation voucher work were actually incredibly positive. For us as a business, the potential for this is potentially enormous, because no one else is able to do this, and if we get it right, it's not only incredibly positive for patients and health services, but it could allow us as a business to have a particular unique selling point that no one else has, that would allow us to grow around the world. So, key takeaways from me. Well, I think for us as a business, as I've said and continue to emphasise, collaboration has been absolutely key. It's something that we will keep doing, not just with UWS but with other universities. We plan on opening our first office abroad, which will be in Boston at the start of 2017. We are just now starting to build up relationships with MIT for probably obvious reasons. They've got an incredibly good informatics and computer science department there. There is no future I can see where we do not collaborate with universities, because they still play a key role in our society, not just for recruitment but for trying to get their technology out. And yeah, keep your businesses in Scotland if anyone's. I think it's a great place to be.